Alright, today we're going to check out the Aim Controller. What's up guys, it's Jason over Think Gaming, and today I want to give my first impressions, not a full review, but my first impressions of the Aim Controller. Now you PlayStation 4 owners know that we don't have many choices out there. We have Scuf, which is a really great brand. I went over their Vantage controller, that was my first review ever, and then I eventually got the Impact, which the Impact is a great controller. I recommend the Impact if you're going to go with Scuf. But let's talk about the Aim Controller. The Aim Controller is basically a modified PS4 controller. Right away you'll notice that you can customize this controller. There's all kinds of layouts out there, different sticks, there's lighting, there's all kinds of cool cosmetics with this. This one has some little bullet buttons, it's pretty cool. Away from the cosmetics look, I want to talk about the actual gameplay with this controller. Now that it's a PS4 controller, it has the feel that we're all used to, and it's going to work, it's going to sync, and you're going to have no issues with Bluetooth, no issues with your headphones, so all that's good. I tested this out playing Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now it has a great feel on the controller. As far as the triggers, they are really awesome at Call of Duty. Now I have one thing to complain. The shoulder buttons right here there's like a micro switch, you can hear a click, which that's good, that's a little different. It reminds me of the Razer controllers. That have those micro switches, but it's just not as clicky. Now you have the same thing with the triggers. Now there's a problem with that being a switch because you don't actually have those hair triggers that you can adjust like on the Scuf. And if you're using certain weapons that you do need the analog trigger, it's not going to work. Now in Call of Duty with my Scuf controller, I have the hair triggers where I could just barely tap it and it'll work. Now with this controller, you actually got to press it down, but it is a short throw, so that is good. Now I did like it with my setup in Call of Duty. This worked awesome. The triggers felt great, but I have to stress that out. These are not analog triggers. You'll hear that switch right away, so that could turn somebody off. All right, the next thing which you guys probably want to know is about the paddles. Now I don't want to give my full-on impressions just yet. I will actually want to get a little bit more gameplay with this, but just right away, just with a little bit of gameplay, I did not like the paddles. Now, I'll stress that out because on the Scuf, I didn't like the paddles either. Now I love them. Those paddles are perfect. I learned how to hold the controller different, and I felt like it came out a little bit on the Impact, and then just my fingers laid just perfectly. Now on this one, I'm so used to holding the PS4 controller, just how I've always held it. Now you would think just, that the paddles kind of feel okay. I just honestly couldn't get used to them. They just felt, the top ones just, I don't know, I kept getting mixed up. Maybe I got to get used to this controller. It's like what I said in one of my previous videos. It's almost like, learning how to dribble basketball with the opposite hand, doing anything, that you're not used to. It's a learning curve, so I don't want to knock on it just yet, but first impressions, I did not like the way the paddles felt. I mean, they're easy to press, but it's just the location of the paddles. They weren't doing it for me. All right, the next thing I want to talk about are the analog sticks. Now, the analog sticks are plastic. They're not metal like the Xbox, which isn't a big deal. These aren't going to break, and if you take care of them, buying an expensive controller, it should be no issue. Now, in the Scuf, the top of these sticks, they're made out of this rubber. It's a really comfortable rubber, but they do wear down fast, and it also has like a little stickiness to it, which I really like those analog sticks. They just have a certain feel. It's really comfortable. Now these look like they're made out of a harder rubber. It's almost plastic like at the bottom, but you can feel a little bit rubber around there. Now I do like the feel of these. These don't feel like they're gonna go out. Now standard, you'll be getting these with these PS4 ones. Now these look exactly like a PS4, but they're not that same rough material, and they're not the soft material as the first generation. It's its own twist on it. I mean, it looks like it'll work. It looks like it'll work okay, but I prefer the Xbox One version. If you're going to pick up some custom sticks, probably go with the Xbox One. That's my choice. Now, I got this at a con, and I didn't see any options for the dome. I didn't get to ask, so there may be options for the dome, but I didn't see any. They didn't have any at the booth. Another thing is these triggers. I did overhear the guy saying that you can custom map them. On this specific one, I don't think you can customize them. I think it's an option. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But as of now, I didn't like the default setup. Now this top right one was triangle, the bottom one was circle, and the bottom one on the left was X, and the top left one was square. I don't know. I was trying to use them. I couldn't get used to it. Now, it may just be something that I have to get used to. My personal preference, I didn't like the factory setup that these triggers came with. But like I said, I think there's an option that you can purchase to remap these, but this controller doesn't have it. All right, so that's mostly what I got to say about this controller, my first impressions. Other than that, I don't want to steer you guys away from it. If you think the price is okay, and if you just want to use this as a PS4 controller that has different sticks and different triggers, I mean, go ahead and get it. Now, like I said, these triggers are switches. That may be an issue for some people, but for most people it's not. Especially in Call of Duty, if you want to fire your weapon really fast, these are awesome. But like I said, you're not going to get those hairline triggers that you get in the Scuff. I would not recommend this controller for anyone that wants a modified controller that's similar to Scuff, but if you want your own twist towards a PS4 and you don't care about paddles, then this controller is definitely a controller you're probably going to want. As of now, that's my first impressions. I really don't think I'm going to change my mind. I can't get off that impact. That's all I have time for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.